At the beginning of the video, the disciple Han Fei tells his teacher Zhe Zunkuang of returning to his homeland, Han Kingdom, and bids him a farewell. Han Fei is the 9th prince of Han Kingdom, who came in Junior Sage Village for his studies. He is a favorite student under teacher Zhe Zunkuang in his time. He has a carefree personality and thus often seen drinking wine in the brothel with female entertainers. He has no martial arts skill at all. However, his intelligence is at the most. He is a strategic thinker. Before leaving for the Han Kingdom, Han Fei meets his fellow disciple Li Si, whom he regards as his junior brother, and tells him his plans of returning to his home. But, the less gifted Li Si does not feel content with his decision of going to the weakest kingdom, and instead he plans to go to the strongest Qin Kingdom. Since their destination are different, they realized that they would be rivals in their next meet. But they agreed not to have mercy and promised to compete fairly when they get into the next meet. Thereafter, Li Si pays the farewell's respect and Han Fei sets forward towards his journey to the Han Kingdom. On the way, he stops by the wine shop and exchanges 2 jars of wine with his precious necklace, since he lost his money pouch while fishing in the lake during his journey. Soon after, throughout the journey he managed to consume a fair quantity of alcohol. The scene shifts and we see an official member of the Han Kingdom, known as Lord Li, assassinated by the Nightfall assassin Moya while trying to hide a secret message into the flute at the middle of the night. After killing the officer, Moya then sets the mansion with fire. Moya is an assassin from the group called Hundreds of Birds and Nightfall Association. Nightfall is an association of the uprising rivals within the Han Kingdom. The association were divided into 2 groups, one of which is the Hundreds of Birds group. Meanwhile, Li Si arrives before the Prime Minister Liu Biwei of Qin Kingdom and makes a bold effort to increase his wealth. Prime Minister Liu Biwei then reluctantly accepts his offer only on the cost of his life in case he fails to fulfill his promise. On the other side, Han Fei finally arrives at the gate of the Han Kingdom. His beloved younger sister Princess Honglian is the first one to welcome him. After a short reunion, they sets forward towards the King Palace. While on the way, Princess Honglian inquires him if he had exchanged his necklace with the wines which she gave him. However, Han Fei managed to change the topics and together walks away. Indeed, Princess Honglian knows her brother very well. Behind, Miss Xinyu, the owner of the brothel Purple Orchid House, was watching them through the window. Besides her, a girl named Nanyu plays a beautiful pin inside the room. The scene shifts and a dark evil aura is shown lurking above the Emperor of Qin, Yingzheng, later to be known as Qin Shi Huang. Soon after, the scene shifts to the flashback of Han Fei, where he asked his teacher Zhe Zunkuang if there is any supernatural power beyond mortal that controlled the fates of human beings. The teacher replied yes and looks towards the blue sky when Han Fei asked the next question of what kind of power it. Long story short, in a rainy night, a group of soldiers at the outskirts of Xinzhen City, led by the 2 lords, brother of Han King, Lord Dongping, and the commander Lord Longquan, escorting a provision for the troops on the border. Soon after, they were attacked by the ghost army, in which the provision containing gold gradually dissolved and disappeared in the rain. On the other side, at the Hidden Dragon Room, wealthy guests gathered together to exchange a rare treasure amongst the guests. The host is Sichu Wanli. Other wealthy guests were Yan Dan of the Yan Kingdom, Lord Yan Shan of the Yan Kingdom, Jink of the Yan Kingdom, Miss Xinyu, Han Fei, and the leader of the Mohist school. Han returned with the mysterious box he got by exchanging the rare treasure in the Hidden Dragon Room. After trying for a while, finally he managed to unlock the mysterious puzzled box. Meanwhile, in the Nangong Mansion, one more official member, Nangan Kuo of the Han Kingdom, was killed with a message on the wall: "Pay back." On the next day at the royal court, the Han King, Han An, was shocked to know the death of 5 presiding officers. General Ji Wuai then suggests the king to hand over the case to Prime Minister Zankadi to solve. King Han An then gives Prime Minister Zankadi 10 days to solve the case and brings out the culprit. Zankadi then reluctantly accepts the order because he knew this was all the plan of General Ji Wuai to overthrow the king and takes his throne. Later he shares the problems of the case with his grandson Zhang Liang. Zhang Liang then suggests him to meet Prince Han Fei, since they cannot inquire the members of the royal family as the case were related to the brother of Han King, Lord Anping, as well they are also afraid to be the target of the ghost army. The scene then shifts to Han Fei, where he was shown opening a mysterious box of a sword, which brings a dark aura covering his room. At the same time there hears a sound of someone whispering some magic words. The mysterious sword is called Nylon. It has its own spirit and only comes out when Han Fei is in danger. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Zhang Keidi and his grandson Zhang Liang arrives at the Purple Orchid House to meet Han Fei. Miss Xinyu then escorts them to the Han Fei's room. Prime Minister Zhang Keidi, at his first sight misjudge and underestimate Han Fei for his weird behavior and playfulness. However, he was impressed by his keen deduction skills. So he intended to stay. And Han Fei asks forgiveness for not welcoming at the first sight. Long story short, Han Fei makes a deal with Prime Minister Zhang Keidi to recommend him to the Han King as a Minister of Criminal Justice, if the case of official member assassinations and the Ghost Army's mystery is solved. Prime Minister Zhang Keidi then questioned his interest to becoming a Minister of Criminal Justice, being a prince and enjoying the benefits of royalty. However, his grandson assured him that Prince Han Fei will be fit enough for the position of Minister of Criminal Justice if he could solve the mystery. Prime Minister Zhang Keidi then agreed. Soon after, as Han Fei goes out of his room, he met a glaze with the swordsman Wei Zuang, the disciple of Ghost Valley. As per the deal, Han Fei and Zhang Liang goes to the house where his uncle Lord Enping and Lord Longquan were having a meal called the Dragon Bone with 8 treasure soup, which takes 18 hours to be cooked. Han Fei inquires them of the case related to the disappearing of the gold and the Ghost Army mystery. But, the two lords were not ready to reveal anything. However, Han's deduction skills brings out the truth behind the disappearing of the gold. The two lords were stunned by the Han's deduction skill and were frightened, for their truth was revealed by Han as they were responsible for the disappearing of the gold. If they were not involved in the disappearance of gold, they would not have let their chef to cook the dragon bone with 8 treasure soup in advance, as the gold also disappeared within the estimated hours, and at the exact time they returned home and have the meal, as the meal only has to be eaten as soon as it was cooked, which is not meant to be a coincidence. Soon after, Han Fei goes to the Purple Orchid House and meets Wei Zuang. He then asks favor from Wei Zuang to accompany him in his mission, and gives him the mysterious box which he had exchanged in the hidden dragon room as a token for the trustworthiness, since the message insides were related to the disciple of Ghost Valley. After their meets, Han Fei leaves the Purple Orchid House. He was drunk. It was bright night with full moon. Then there appeared a ghost army in a sudden, crossing the roads which Han Fei was heading. Han Fei was scared, yet he still watched them marching with horses. As the ghost army with horse marched away, he seems to be surrounded by a dark mist. Then Han Fei sees the spirit of Nylon standing on the rooftop. And at the same time he was attacked by the ghost army. Fortunately, Miss Xinyu arrives in time and saved him from the ghost army. After defeating the ghost army, Han Fei was curious about the real identity of Miss Xinyu. However, Miss Xinyu warns him not to dig into her personal matter. Thereafter he looks to the rooftop, but sees that the spirit of Nylon has already disappeared. At his home, Han Fei opened the sword box and stared at it for a while. Till then Zhang Liang arrives and report him about the acceptance of Han Fei's request by the king to investigate the two lords for the stronger evidence. Thereafter, Han Fei meets them in the jail and hold them as captives until they reveal the truth. On the next day, Zhang Liang asks Han Fei if he could bring out the evidence from the two lords, as the deadlines is to be completed by tomorrow. Han Fei then plans a dilemma situation for both the two lords. He succeeded in making them confess the truth. However, when they goes to see the two lords, they were found to be dead mysteriously. Then Han Fei ordered the foods they have been eating last night and checked it with the needles. Found out that the foods have been poisoned. And also their possession were all stolen from their body. They conclude that it is the works of some other person and not the ghost army. Long story short, King Hanan was seen upset for his brother's death in the presence of Han Fei, General Ji Wuwei, Prime Minister Zhang Keidi and Zhang Liang at the royal court. Referring to the death of many Han Kingdom's official members, General Ji Wuwei then proposed King Hanan to close the investigation. Prime Minister has to agree with him for the safety of the Han people. The King Hanan granted the proposal. However, as the meeting got over, on the outside of the palace, Prime Minister John Cady promised Han Fei to entitle him as a Minister of Criminal Justice, on the day he finds out the provisions stolen in the outskirts of Xinzhen City. Han agreed. Then he goes to Wei Zhuang and asks him to help him defend while he investigates the provision in the general mansion. Miss Zinyu inquires him about the progress of the case. Han tells her that it seems a loss for him in the outside, but on the contrary he succeeded twice in his progress. John Cady and Zhang Liang are now under his favor. Thereafter, Han Fei with Wei Zhuang goes to the general mansion and investigate about the provision by manipulating the game of those three women playing with the golds in the general mansion. General Ji Wuai gets interested on Han's game strategies. However, he has not yet understood the manipulation of game for the investigation of provisions. Then, Han Fei manipulates the game in such a way that at the initial part of the game the first woman and second woman gets no golds at all and all the profits goes to the third woman, whereas at the end the first woman gets 99 golds, the second woman gets 1 gold and the third woman gets no gold at all. The things that seems disadvantage at the first scene might benefits at the end is what Han Fei wants to tell General Ji Wuai through the manipulation of the game. As soon as General realized this he replied, "Only a force alone can changes the rule." Han was still calm and gives more hint to the general by showing him how they tracked the assassin and the place where provision were hidden. On knowing that the truth has been revealed, General Ji Wuai attacked Han Fei, but is ultimately blocked by Wei Zhuang. At the same time a soldier comes and report a message of John Cady arrangement of feast for Han. General could no longer stop him. After they comes out from the general mansion they goes to the high mountain cliff and watch over the general mansion. Miss Zinyu was out of idea of why they were feasting at the top of the mountain at night. However, later she understood, when the soldiers of the general were trying to shift the provision to the next store as the General Ji Wuai was tempted by Han Fei and got frightened. Han Fei then asked Wei Zhuang to complete the remaining task, which is to mean killing the soldiers and restoring back the provision. Long story short, a soldier reported General Ji Wuai about the attack and losses of provision last night. General was curious if there were any gold coin left behind. The soldier gave him only one that is left behind. As General Ji Wuai was in anger, a soldier reported about the coming of a messenger, Zhang Liang. General Ji Wuai then called out his soldier and ordered them to hide, and attack only when he tossed up the wine cup. He also ordered Moya to bring the messenger in. The messenger came in, and General was sitting on his throne while Moya stands on his left side and Bei Feng stands on the right. Zhang Liang asked General to pay respect and listen to the king's message. However, General refused at first. Later, seeing no option, he reluctantly bowed down and accepted the message and rewards. Soon after, in the Purple Orchid House, Zhang Liang congratulates Han Fei for getting the position of Minister of Criminal Justice. Han Fei then thanks them all. Now Han Fei proposed to them to create a new stronger Han Kingdom. They accepted. So they formed a formless power group. They named it Quicksand. On the next day, Miss Zinyu got to check the death body of a member of Purple Orchid House as she heard a scream from her room. Then the time goes one day before where Han and his team were discussing about the matter of 4 fearful warriors of Nightfall, in which each warrior of Nightfall has a specialities on their own. First warrior, Bei Yifei, the Blood Marquis, has 100,000 soldiers. The second warrior, Thak Huihu, the Emerald Tiger, has an unimaginable wealth. The third warrior, Lady Mingzhu, the Night Enchantress, has power in politics, and the fourth warrior, the Cloaked Man, has large network of intelligence. Han and his team discussed about the needs to overthrow them first before directly hitting for General Ji Wuai. Meanwhile, General Ji Wuai was giving an order to a strange man, whose identity has yet to be revealed. While on the other side, Moya and his subordinate Bei Feng were talking about the general moves to remove all the obstacles that comes before him. On the other side, Han Fei, Zhang Liang and Miss Zinyu were listening to the non-news playing, in which Han Fei asked her past life, as the music she played has the sweetness and the sadness, which later was stopped by Miss Zinyu not to ask about her past as to keep it secret. Han asked forgiveness and inquired non-Yu about her gemstone of raining fire, which she replied to be given by her father. At the same time, in the same brothel, they hears a voice of Left Minister of War, known to be Lord Liu. Miss Zinyu then walks away to handle him. At the Miss Zinyu returned, Han Fei asked her about the Lord Lu, on which Miss Xinyu said to have handled him. Han Fei then walks away from the Purple Orchid house. While Wei Xuang watched him going, Miss Xinyu then asked Wei Xuang on what makes him interested in accepting Han Fei's offer, on which he recalled his flashback where Han Fei and himself discussing about the similarity of sorrows they were facing, in which they mentioned the number 1 swordsman Jianye who serves the Qin Emperor, Yang Zheng. Later at the present, Wei Xuang replied Miss Xinyu that he wants to see how Han Fei ambitions aunt or prosper. Indeed, it would be worth seeing the games of an intelligence player. While they were talking, Wei Xuang sees a strange man following Han Fei, and as the strange man went away he immediately took his sword, shark teeth, and flew away to the rooftop to protect Han from being killed. On the other side, Han Fei was indeed surrounded by a group of people on the way. They killed Han Fei's 2 guards. On sensing the danger situation of Han Fei, the sword Nalin appeared in time to save his master. Wei Xuang sees the Nalin but could not recognize who it is. Meanwhile, Han Fei safely comes out and meets Wei Xuang, on which Wei Xuang asks about the strange swordsman who had saved him from the bandits. Han Fei did not tell him any secrets of the Nalin swords. Wei Xuang suspiciously looked at Han Fei for a while and finally leaves away, letting Han Fei to go home alone. In THR next scene, a woman from the Purple Orchid house was seen to be killed by a strange man.